One singular perfect organism was able to take out an entire crew of 5 with relative ease. What happens if there is an entire hive or a colony of these creatures? That's what James Cameron set out to ask when he took the reins from Ridley Scott to do a sequel to Alien, the horror classic, and the result was war.
Aliens. This time, it's war.
I tend to lean to the predecessor when asked which of these films do I prefer, but that's just because I'm a bit more of a horror-centric guy. I mean, you know, I prefer the horror-orientated tone, but realistically, both films are, like, interchangeable for me. They're both perfect, I can't really fault either of them. It's just a matter of every day my favourite will change between these two. We pick up right where we left off with Ripley in cryosleep. That's why it's a real shock to hear that it's been 57 years since the events of the first film, and she's just been floating in space. It's a miracle that no entity found her and Jonesy during this time, but anyway, it's a haunting realization that every aspect of her life prior to the harrowing events of that first film is now a forgotten history. Whilst I know it's a deleted scene, I do have to mention the reveal that her daughter had passed away, because it's really interesting the fact that they actually took a picture of Sigourney Weaver's mother and used that, and because then of course we get to play her in the game Alien Isolation, which I have to mention because it is my favourite game of all time. The closest to a motive for the company in Alien was seen through Ash, the android gone wrong, and the mother interface, which gave this elusive feeling of this corporation very willing to exploit blue-collar workers for their own gain. This film puts more of a human face to the mysterious corporation and overall expands the universe in a lot of very interesting ways. Burke becomes the main face of Weyland-Yutani in this film. He's the one who greets Ripley upon waking up, immediately insisting that he's a nice guy, he's not like the other boys. There are brief moments throughout the film where we think maybe there is some humanity, maybe he isn't the worst guy, but he just keeps digging his own hole, showing us the real slimy shit that he is. The rest of the corporate heads we briefly meet are just as shitty. They're totally unwilling to hear Ripley's first-hand experience. They're insistent that the Nostromo malfunctioned, as well as Ash. Despite this being set in the future and obviously after Prometheus and Covenant, there are no official records of aliens existing, which does fall apart a bit because of the prequels, but whatever. As expected, Burke comes to Ripley with Lieutenant Gorman requesting supervision on a mission down to LV-426 because there was a colony that was set up there for over 2 decades that have now gone completely silent. They've lost all contact. An inevitability that everyone knew from the moment this was stated to us. Ripley knew it was coming, and of course Burke has ulterior motives to the whole thing, hoping to recover some of the aliens down there, as we later find out that he was actually the one who told the people on the planet to go and investigate this unknown ship without any warning. Despite knowing what Ripley had said, he sent them over there anyway. Sigourney Weaver gives a powerhouse performance in this follow-up. Someone ridden with trauma, understandably after the events of the Nostromo, and I absolutely adore that that becomes the reason for her to join the mission. Refusing to allow the fear to dictate her life any longer, provided the intention is to actually go there and wipe out the creatures, not rescue any of them. Because she knows, as well as we do, that just one of these things can cause absolute carnage. She refuses to take the situation lightly, despite the clear lack of belief from everyone around her. She's an incredible character, forced to survive in the first and once again now in the sequel. But within an environment amongst highly trained professionals, colonial marines, she is forced to face her fears multiplied, and that includes the company, not just the aliens. The company that sees human life as completely expendable if it means that they can line their pockets with more money. The entire team are not prepared or set up for this mission properly at all. But this kind of adds an extra existential level of anxiety in a way, because this corporation that employs all these guys and is sending them down on this borderline suicide mission really do not care at all. These corporations that are higher than us really control so much of our lives, and Ripley is the definition of standing up against that, standing up against people who take advantage as well as your own fears. She starts off that first film stuck well within the system while still headstrong in her own right, to by the end of this film facing off fearlessly against the alien queen. Going back to the Marines, I love them. You just have to.
Right. Somebody said alien. She thought they said illegal alien and signed up.
Each of them have unique personalities. Even those with minimal screen time leave an impression. No two of them feel the same, and they feel like real people with real lives. Bill Paxton is so good as Hudson, giving some of my favourite line deliveries ever.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
starting off as the most confident guy in every room before being terrified quicker than everyone else.
Then we go back in there and get them.
Fuck that!
Don't leave our people behind.
I ain't going back in
You
there,
can't
man.
help them.
They wake up with frozen cigars at the ready, and they do a good job at genuinely making these guys have established relationships and good experience in the field, being the best at what they do. They just don't really know what they're getting into here, except for Lieutenant Gorman, a very inexperienced leader, slapped onto this mission, once again a case of the company failing to recognize the severity of the situation, and it also allows Burke to step in and have more control. A very slimy move from all involved. The production design is astounding. I mean, I love the consistency of the grunge and grimy feeling it really follows on from the first. And it's just an insane idea that this company, years after the Nostromo went missing, and knowing that it was sent down to this planet, that they just thought it would be fine to set up colonies there. The place is abandoned, it's an absolute wreck, but the first sign of life comes on the motion sensor, and it turns out to be Newt, a young girl and a brilliant character amongst an insane crew of them. The sole survivor of whatever has happened here, and she is brilliant. She serves as someone for Ripley to hyper-focus on, not wanting her to go through the same things that she did, to make sure that she gets out alive. She's also just so cute, she's so lovable.
Affirmative.
Affirmative.
And so real as well.
I guess we're not going to be leaving now.
The confidence slowly starts fading away from the huge gun-toting guys as things look less and less familiar the further they explore this base. And they don't know it yet, but they enter the xenomorph nest, and the reveal of the hive is brilliant. Bodies attached to the walls where we actually see a chestburster, and obviously these guys don't know what's going on. And then suddenly, the motion sensor kicks back on.
I'm questioning absolutely everything. Oh, no, no, no!
And they are surrounded, and we see xenomorphs crawling out of the walls, coming from all angles. They are absolutely surrounded, and the massacre kicks off. The tone is so expertly crafted here. It's built up so well. This cold atmosphere grows, and the blacks and blues of the planet, the weather as they landed, the barren, abandoned colony, at least so we thought. There's a real sense of dread that the film keeps up the entire way through, and it constantly feels like we're on the verge of descending into absolute catastrophe, which does basically happen every time. Seeing the attack through the body cams, and Gorman being frozen in fear, and Ripley being forced already to take authority is all great stuff. There was a good chance seeing masses of aliens could remove a bit of the fear factor, but it very much remains. When they rescue a few of the remaining Marines, they agree to fuck off and just nuke this site. An actual smart choice in a very dire situation. Despite Burke's slimy attempts to convince them otherwise, it turns out that Hicks has official authority on a technicality, so he agrees to go with the nuking plan. But the ship meant to collect them ends up crashing after an alien got on board. The way they did this looks incredible, using miniatures to do the actual crash and using rear projection to put it behind our actors. It just makes it that much more impactful, and the film has aged so insanely well. The aliens were just generally men in suits for this film, and they do a really good job at making them feel quite agile. And even when they do use puppetry, again, it's even better than before. For as much of a downer as this moment is, I kind of love it because Hudson is now just predicting his own death for the rest of the film.
Hey man, I don't want to rain on your parade. We're not going to last 17 hours.
So now they're forced to set up some defenses and just to buy time until they can get off the planet. And considering that Newt did it alone, there's got to be a way they can too. And we actually see them here discussing the possibility of a queen existing, which lays the seeds for the actual queen later on.
One female that runs the whole show. She's badass, man. I mean big.
It's really nice. It's a small moment here, but it does make that final reveal much more impactful. It's right around this time that we also learn that Burke was the one who sent the colonists to the ship, and at the same time, Ripley and Newt get locked in the lab by Burke. It's a great little sequence showing more of what the facehuggers can do, and confronting Burke afterwards, we see his cold and calculated yet cowardly face upon being confronted with all his wrongdoings. But this is directly followed with the aliens taking out the power, yet another sign of their intelligence, and we see them all working together here. It's a very interesting contrast to the first film. The red lighting setting the mood, the motion sensor kicks off again, but despite them being only a couple of yards in front of them, there's no sign of them. So with that, Hicks takes a look into the vents and sees a swarm of xenomorphs crawling right towards them under the red lights. It's a terrifying visual, I absolutely love it, and that's when yet another massacre kicks off. They descend from the ceiling, they ascend from the floor. Burke decides to take the every man for himself approach and obviously gets fucked up. They attack in masses, and no matter how many of them they blow to pieces, more of them just continue to come back, and this results in the deaths of Hudson, Gorman, and Vasquez. And immediately after as well, Ripley and Hicks lose Newt, falling deeper into the ship. This leads to some of my favourite stuff in the Alien franchise, and maybe in sci-fi and horror in general. Ripley and Hicks are desperately trying to open the floor to get to Newt, but the bad news is a xenomorph rises from the water in this incredible shot. It's just absurdly good, and Ripley, knowing that they're not going to just kill Newt, they're going to try and reproduce, she dedicates herself to retrieving her and getting her home safe. I love this one-man mission she's on a timer until the entire thing is going to blow. So even upon finding Newt, it's not going to be an easy escape. But when she does find her, they realize they have walked directly into the middle of the hive. This is just masterfully revealed. The pan up to the huge sack laying eggs to the actual puppet of this huge figure. Very skeletal in nature with light shining through its limbs, the mouth lowering from its head shell. I mean, it's just superb in every way. My personal take is that when attempting to make a hive, an alien doesn't have to be a queen necessarily from birth, but when populated and expanded enough, one can evolve into a queen, and I don't know the full journey of a xenomorph to queen, it's a bit blurry, but frankly, it doesn't matter, because this one has woken up. The standoff between it and Ripley is incredible. I love the little understanding they come to with Ripley just saying, I'm gonna torch this fucking place if you try anything. And as they back up, the Queen gives a signal, opening one of the eggs. And I love Ripley's face here of just, really? It's so good.
This isn't a democracy anymore.
Leading to Ripley torching the eggs, torching the hive, and once again, all hell breaks loose. We get to see the Queen in a lot of action as well. We see this thing sprint, man, and it looks great. It's genuinely a testament to the incredible puppetry and work that everyone on this film did. It feels huge and individually threatening as all hell. As standard for these films, they obviously don't get to just get on the ship and leave. The Queen secretly hitched a ride, and just when they think they might be safe, Bishop is torn to shreds by the Queen's tail in a brutal, shocking moment. It's an amazing reveal as it drops from under the shuttle, and then the final showdown between it and Ripley, as Ripley uses the loader that was established earlier in the film. Again, showing her quick thinking, showing her physical ability. This fight is just unbeatable. It's an incredible ending to the movie. There's a great sense of peril throughout, constantly feeling like an uphill battle, but Ripley continues anyway, trying to protect Newt and kill this thing once and for all. And with any luck, get out alive, you know, that'd be nice too. So much of this is in camera, using expertly placed pans and shooting at different speeds to play with the creature movement and miniatures of course too. It's such an emphatic ending and you just want more, which is why it's such a crime that Alien 3 opens the way it does. So, we all know, Aliens is a top tier movie. I don't think many people can disagree with that. It's the template for a sequel, specifically horror sequels. It ups the stakes, it ups the scale, takes everything up a notch from what we'd previously seen and expands in new and unique ways too. An outstanding movie in every conceivable way. You spend the whole movie hoping that as many of these characters can get out alive, and it being Ripley, Newt and Hicks is a genuinely perfect ending.